Hello everyone. Today I'm playing with the hummingbird. I've been thinking about, because many of you have asked, doing a Zoom class on the hummingbird. I don't know, we'll see. I'm going to go ahead and do it here, and then we'll see about doing a Zoom class. So I'm going to be working very wet and wet, and I'm using the Select, this is a Princeton brush, their Select series, which is very inexpensive, definitely a student grade, but I've had this brush for several years and it works great. This is the number 8, and I really like it and thought it would be good for these wings here. So that's what I'm going to do today. I am using my MeiLiang palette, you know, this beautiful student palette. I get a lot of questions about this, and I get a lot of you that have ordered this and are loving it. For the price point, I think it's fantastic. The colors, as all of you are saying, are so beautiful and creamy and rich and vibrant. I love this palette. I even love all the colors that they chose, because some of my palettes I find I don't use as much because they don't have all the colors I love, where this palette has, I mean, every color I ever need. So I really love this. And then I just refill them with the tubes. I bought the set of tubes. Thank you to one of you that shared they had tubes. And I just refill them. So love this little palette, great student palette. Today I'm actually using, I took the cover off, but this is the Meeden 100% cotton paper. This is cold pressed 140 pound. And the reason I'm using this is because I am going to use a little bit more water. So I just didn't want to deal with having to tape down my Artisto paper. And I have a few of these pads. I use them kind of sparingly because they are a little bit more. So I don't use them all the time, but I'm going to use that today. And then I've got my ceramic palette here. I don't travel with it. It's too heavy. But I love how deep and large the wells are. And these are basically the colors I always use. So I don't really wash it. I have all the colors I like in there. And then lastly, I've got my wash and my rinse. Again, another Meeden product I absolutely love. I've said it before, I have spilled way too many of the red solo cups or the little mason jars. So, plus this just kind of looks pretty on my desk. I like it. And it works really well. And then of course I've got a paper towel here. I constantly wet my brush and dab it off. It's just kind of a habit. That's what I do. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm getting my brush wet. I'm just tapping it a bit on the side of my well there. And I think I'll actually give my palette over here a little spray. I already sprayed these and activated them, so they're nice and soft and ready to go. And then I'll just give my palette a little spray. And what I'm going to do first, I don't know if you can see this on here, and I will offer this drawing if you like. I think if you email me, it's probably even on. If you go to my website, I offer free drawings every month, and I think it's in one of the months, but I'll put it on again for you to grab. But if you can't find that, just email me, and I'm happy to send that to you. Okay, so what I'm going to do first is, he's kind of spread out like this. I'm going to make this pretty simple so that beginners can paint this. I don't want it to be too detailed and things like that. I just want you to have fun with it. That's kind of how I like to play. It's a Friday night. I just want to have fun and relax. So I have wet my brush, and I've got quite a bit of water on there. And I think actually what I'm going to do is start with his little belly. We get tons of hummingbirds here. They're so cute. I love them. And whenever I'm working wet and wet, I've mentioned this before, I always bring my water line out farther than what I really want to have my paint go. And the reason for that is I want a light washy edge. So around his eye, of course, that's going to be, the paint will go right up to that around his eye. But as far as the wings down here and such, I'm bringing it farther down his feathers because I want the watercolor to kind of wash out. So I've got just a nice sheen on here. And then I'm going to go in, let's see. I think I'm going to go with some turquoise. So I already have this little bit of turquoisey color in here. Let's see. I'll list the colors I end up using because what happens is I think I'm going to use one color and then I start painting and I've end up adding something else very intuitively. So I'm just going to start tapping in here and look how beautiful already. It's already, I'm going to see if I can get a little bit brighter turquoise here. I think this is the turquoise or turkey blue. We had a lot of discussions about that, haven't we, friends? And I just start tapping in. And see, I'm not carrying my paint to the edge of where I put the water because I want it to be very soft, a very soft transition there. I'm rinsing my brush, washing and rinsing my brush and tapping it off a little. And then I'm going to go in with water in here and make it even washier. Like that. I might even tap in here because I want kind of this little bit of mottled, kind of muddled, I don't know, whatever you call that, type of look in there. So let's see, what other color? Let's add a little bit of regular blue down here. And I've got his little feet in there. Look how beautiful that is. Oh my gosh, you guys, I love these colors together. And then let's see, around his head. And this brush actually works pretty well. It's got a pretty thin edge. So I'm just going to tap in up here and let that kind of blend up there. And then let's see if I think I'm going to leave it at that for right now. I really want a little brighter of that turquoise. So let's see here. I don't want to do too much yet because we'll go in and do some layers. All right, let's go into his little wings here. So whenever I do hummingbirds, I've got a drip about ready there. They've got this little small layer of wings and then they have the big ones. So I'm going to go in and this is just with water. I've got a little bit of color on there. And I'm going to use the side of my brush because it's a perfect little feather shape. And I'm just going to go in and fill these with water like that. And the first layer of color I'm going to do here is going to be fairly light. And I think what I'll do, let's make him really colorful. Let's do a little bit of this pretty purple. So I'm just going to go in and I'm creating a very light wash. Be kind of careful with this violet purple because it's a tad bit strong. And then I'm not putting as much pressure as I get down to these smaller. They're almost like little petals, actually. Like that. Perfect. That's exactly what I want. Now, I want that to dry a bit. And I'm going to go over to this side and do these. So I wet my brush again. And depending on how wide those feathers are is how much pressure. So the thinner the little feather, the less pressure. There we go. And then I'll go in with that purple again. And because this is the first layer, I'm making it a lighter value because I can go over it later with darker values. So look how pretty that is. Oh, you guys, this is truly, as you know, I get really excited about watercolors, but they're so pretty. They're so beautiful. Okay, so we might as well do the little feathers at the bottom. So I'm just going to do the same thing here. I'm applying that water using the side. I'm holding my brush sideways. And it's getting a little bit of blue on it because there's blue here, which is fine. Because purple, what I'm going to put in a second here, has blue in it, so it's perfectly fine. And then let's go for that purple, except for I'm going to start from the end of the brush, of his feathers, and work upward like that. Just carrying it upward. I'm kind of flicking so it's not too hard of a line there. Like that. Oh my gosh, look how pretty. What a pretty little hummingbird, right? Might even tap in a little bit of that purple here and there. So pretty. The hummingbirds here are absolutely gorgeous. They always have these bright red chests that I'll try and add in a little bit there. Okay, so I think what I'll do, let's see. What do I want to do right now? Maybe do this back wing here that I'm just going to make damp. And by the way, I traced this on here with a tracing paper. Let's see which green that is. I want kind of this, I think it's called emerald green. It's very vibrant. Yeah, let's go in there with that. Ooh, yeah, that's pretty. And I'm just laying it down in there very lightly. Wash and rinse my brush. And going to throw some water in there. Maybe add, I feel like it needs a tiny bit of the blue. Yeah. And I don't mind if it kind of blends in with that purple. I might even try and help it. So let's go into this one. And do the same. Yeah, I love that. Oh my God, isn't he beautiful? He is so pretty. I love too that colors actually release this happy hormone in you. I think that's why I love this so much, because it just makes me happy when I see these things. I'm going to take a different brush. Let's see, let me grab my 8 long round. This is actually my Princeton, and I'm going to draw his little beak there. So I'm using a little thicker consistency of paint. I'm going to use probably 80% pigment, 20% paint. And I'm just going to go in. And this is actually, I'm not using a black, it's a Prussian blue. And I think that's really pretty because it also has some blue in it. And that'll keep it from looking too harsh. There we go. And that's exactly what I wanted. Okay, let's give this a minute to dry. I'm trying to think if I want to add any more little dots of colors, maybe a little bit here and there. I really want it to be in his belly though. So just dotting in some colors in there. There we go. And then I think what I'll do, it's so cold here, I'm going to give it a shot with my heat gun just to get it to dry a bit. These work great. Also, when I dry them, it flattens out the paper. Although this isn't working a lot because it is 100% cotton. And I do love this Meeden Paper. If you want to kind of go in between the Artisto and like an arches, I think this Meeden Paper is great. And I would even do a commission on here because it is 100% cotton. So it's a great paper. It's just a little bit more than my Artisto, so I don't use it every day. Otherwise I would if I had lots of it. So my paper is flattening out. The color, watercolors, when they dry, as you can see, get a little bit more light. The opposite of gouache, which gets brighter when it dries. There we go. So that's pretty dry enough for me. I love this little heat gun, by the way. I think it was only $15 Chandler. I'll look for my link I used for it. It's really great, especially in the winter, because in the winter, things do not dry here. It takes a long time. So I'm going to grab that 8 Princeton Select brush again. And now I'm going to go in and do some more vibrant layers. So I'll go in here and let's see, what color do we want to, I guess we could use that purple again. It's so funny because I constantly want to grab my pink. And actually, MeiLiang has this beautiful, look at that beautiful pink color. I think it's red violet. I'd have to look at my, let's see. It is violet red, and it's really, really pretty. So I'm going to go in and just do some little swatches here and there. I'm calling them swatches, but there we go. And then I want to soften that edge right there. So I'm washing and rinsing my brush, and I'm just going to go in. I don't want too much. And going to encourage that to kind of blend in there. Yeah, very pretty. That's exactly what I wanted. And then I might, and what I did is I'm leaving that back part in there. So you could do this actually with, when it's a little bit damp, and you'd get a little softer lines in there. Now it's funny, when I go slow, my line's a little bit wonkier. Isn't that funny? Light pressure. And some of the lines, you know, you can vary some of the lines there too. So this one, I don't even know if I need to as much soften that, but I'm going to. So look how oh my gosh, this is, so pretty. Let's do his little feathers here. And I think down here, what I might do is do a little bit of the purple, but with some more blue in it. So let me grab a tiny bit of blue. I'm just going to get some of that paint out and grab a tiny bit of the blue. Yeah, there we go. So it's a little deeper purple. And then go in. When I go slow, my brush strokes get a little wonky. Like that. And I'll just soften up those areas there. And then I feel like what I want to add in there is some of the purple. So it's not such a distinct line. There. There we go. Oh, so pretty. I almost feel like I want to add some gold or yellow. And that red violet, by the way, is really staining and vibrant. So it takes a little bit to get it out of your brush, just forewarning there. I feel like I want to add a little gold or yellowish color in here. So I'm going to add a little touch there. And then what I'll do is wash and rinse my brush and I just added some water. So we haven't got any hard lines. I'm tapping in some paint there, rinse my brush. And if that's too hard a lines, you can, on the edges, just dab with some water. And I think we're good. What I'd like to do now is I'm grabbing my 6 long round and I'm gonna go in with I want a little bit more of a cherry type red. Yeah, like that. And I want to go in right under here and add in a tiny bit of this cherry red, because the hummingbirds here have this beautiful red that actually is so interesting because it shows up when they turn a certain direction, like that. This is one vibrant bird, you guys. So there we go. I like that. And then I'm going to take some of the turquoise. So what I did there is I wet it first, and then I dabbed in that red, so that we get a nice little spread there. And that will lighten up. Along the top of his head, I'm going to add some of that turquoise. Very tiny bit on the tip of my brush. And maybe carry that in to his beak. And then what I'm going to do is wash and rinse my brush, tap it off so it's damp, and I want to just soften that line there. Let's use a little bit more of that turquoise color. Got to be careful I don't have paint on my... And I'm just tapping in here to the crown of his head. Wash and rinse. Like that. So pretty. Wash and rinse. There we go. Yeah, I quite like that. The last thing I have to add here are going to be his little feet, but I need to make sure this is really dry. And I think what I might do, let's do a tiny bit of a washy yellow, just the hint. So I'm wetting my brush and picking up some of that yellow. But I'm going to tap it off, and let's just add in a tiny bit of that here and there. And don't touch that purple too much, because, let me show you, I don't have my color wheel right here, but purple and yellows are kind of opposite. So if you put too much and it mixes together, it could make mud. So I just want to give it, like in the light, it might get that shimmer of yellow. And it also will help blend some of this yellow into the other areas. So look at how concentrated that yellow is. I really need to add some water there. And then I'm tapping off. And let's go in again here. Pick up some of that yellow. There we go. Don't want to play with it too much because I don't want the purple and the yellow to kind of go together. Just adding in little touches of it like that. Yes. Now I'm going to hit this with the heat iron, because let me put a tiny bit more on the crown of his head. I want it to dry so I can do his little eye. So I'm just using light pressure, holding my brush straight up and tapping in like that. Wiping my brush off. I want to get rid of that hard line, and there we go. Yeah, I quite like that. Okay, let's hit it with the heat gun. There we go. And once it dries, we can go in and draw our little eye. Now, if you wanted, you could use either a dark pigment, meaning a darker value, more paint than water, or you could even use, oh, and we need to put his little foot in. I don't know why, I always forget their little feet for some reason. Poor little guys. Let's go here. I picked up Prussian blue, but be really careful with that, again, because it's so dark. I think I'm actually going to use my Van Dyke brown. Yeah, there we go. I've never noticed their teeny little feet, but I imagine that they're a dark brown. So that's what color I'm going to make them. I don't know why, I always forget their little feet. Let's see, let's put this one right here. There we go. So there's their little feet. And now let's see if I can do that eye. You can do the eye a couple different ways. I hear some of you say your hand's kind of shaky and you don't really trust doing the eye with a brush. Totally get it. I'm just going in to darken that beak a tiny bit. So I'm going to draw this little eye. There we go. So you could definitely do that with a pen, for sure, if you feel more comfortable with that. And there you go. I'm basically done. If you really wanted to, you could go in here with, let's see, where is my Ohuhu marker? My Ohuhu fine liner. I love them. My micron's all kind of pooped out on me. I've had them for so long. So I've been using this 0.7 Ohuhu fine line drawing pen, and it actually came in this set. I don't use most of them because some of these are really, really fine and some are even thicker, almost like a brush tip. And you could go in now, when you're using cold pressed paper, don't press too hard because it could be kind of hard on the tips. I mean, that is a tiny tip. So I'm just going to go in lightly and just add in some little lines just to give that feel, like with our flowers, like that. You could have even done the eye with this. And again, I'm not pressing hard with this marker at all, because I don't want to ruin my marker and kind of wear down my tip. I just want to give the suggestion of some of his little feathers there. You could even go in and maybe do some of that because they do have little feathers here. So that can add a lot to it. It depends on, you know, if you like it washy, leave it how it was. I tend to kind of like that washy look. So a lot of times I will leave it. But I do know I get asked frequently, how can I add some detail? And this would be a great way to do that. So there you go. I'm pretty much done. I hope you'll give this little guy a try. Look how beautiful. The other thing you could do too is you could add that washy background that I keep sharing with you, and it would almost look like the wings were flying in air, which this picture suggests. So you could do that by, again, applying water more than farther out than you're going to go, because you want the edge of your paint line to be washy. And then let's just go in with some of that blue. So this is just, you know, an idea. You might have been fine with it a minute ago, but I get a lot of you that really like having a background. So this is a good way to add that, if that's something you feel you like in your backgrounds. Otherwise, you know, just leave it how it was. And I'm going to, so see the washiness, because I didn't carry my paint all the way to the end, and I'm even going to blow a bit. And that will feather out that line even more. We could do some, you could also do some salt on here. Let's do that. Let's see, where's my salt? The other day I shared what's on my desk, and this salt is on my desk. So let's just sprinkle it. Let's just really play here. Look how fun that is. So it almost gives this illusion that he's flying through the air. Probably could use a bigger brush here. I've got this little 6 brush. You could use a bigger one. Let's see what else I got sitting here. This is that other brand I love, Zen Art. And look at, that's much quicker. So I'm wetting a lot more of my paper than I plan on coming out with my paint. And then let's go in there and start dropping in. And the paint is only going to go where the, hold on, let me grab some of that blue. The paint's only going to go where the water is. That's the beauty of wet on wet, is it only, it stops wherever the paints, the water stops. So something like that. Now I can get in, this is where I might pick up my 6 round again and just go in a little bit here. Go around these feathers, but look how pretty that is. Very pretty. And you could keep going. You could go all the way around if you wanted, or you could just stop right there. You could put some up on top, and look at how beautiful the salt is. Really pretty. So I'm wetting this as well if you wanted to carry that around these bottom feathers too. It's really up to you how much you want. It's individual. When I was doing a lot of commissions years ago, this is the background. This was kind of my go-to background. I want some of that blue that I used quite often, because I think it was safe, it was easy, and people seemed fine with it. They liked it. Going around his little leg there. I'm going to soak up some of that. And again, I could add in, excuse me, some salt, clean up the edges. And we could do the same up here. I kind of like using the smaller brush because I can get a little more detailed around the feathers. But I'll tell you what I like with my backgrounds is doing like a side area with a wash, not all the way around, but you know, you play and do what you enjoy. That's really important. So you might just want a splash of color somewhere, and somebody else may want it like this, where they're going all the way around their painting. Now let's pick up some of those colors, drop them in. And again, I'm not going all the way to the edge of my water because I want it to be a soft edge. Let's see here. This is where I love this 6 round because it can get thicker, but it also has this nice fine tip point to it. So there you go. You know, 2 different looks with or without that. See, I got a little white space there. You can always tap in here too with some water. And that creates like little blossoms and blooms that can be so interesting for your backgrounds. But if you are going to tap in with water, let your painting dry just a tiny bit and it'll show up better. I think this is too dry, so it didn't do a whole lot. And there you go. So much fun, you guys. I hope you give this a try. I will make a tutorial kit for Etsy that are $2.50. If you want to make that donation, you get the swatch, you get a little bit of guidance, directions to go with the tutorial. You'll get an image of the original and the drawing, or if you know, if that you can't afford that, I totally get it, guys. You can just email me and I'll send it, or I will also add the drawing to my April free resources on my website, and you can download the drawing there. So this is adding in the water, and it gives you this really fun washy bloom. All right, everybody, I hope that was fun for you. So beautiful, and I will talk to you soon. Thanks for being a part of my group here. All right, everybody, thank you. Hi, guys. So I'm laughing to myself because after I painted this, I thought, oh my gosh, I forgot my little Mermaid Metallics. Isn't that funny? So I don't know how to edit videos, but I do know how to add 2 together. Baby steps, guys, baby steps. So I'm going to go ahead and use this on here. And then, again, it's your choice. You may have stopped this tutorial without the background. Totally fine. You may have stopped this tutorial at this point. I'm going to go one step further, and I added the pen and ink, and I'm going to add these beautiful, look at these. I'm going to be doing a mermaid soon too, by the way. I want to show you, I just want to show you, swatch these out really quickly. I just got these, so I haven't even used them, but they look amazing, beautiful. Ooh, see that? Now, a lot of times, this is the greenish one. I wish you could see it on my brush too. It's really pretty. So that's a beautiful green. Let's go to this one, which is like a turquoise. Oh, the mermaid we're gonna do, guys, is gonna be unbelievable. Here's the purple. Wow. You guys, if you want one of her, the MAB Watercolors Metallics or Iridescents, I would absolutely say this one. So I'm been hooked on her mirror series, but I think I just found my new, oh my gosh, look at that one. These are beautiful. Let's go to this last purple. I am so, oh my gosh. Look at that. So I don't even know which one of these I want to use. Let's, gosh, I wish I could hear you and you could tell me what you want to see. I think I'm going to go for that one. And it's not going to show up real dark. It's just going to probably let that bottom color show through. Oh my gosh. Now this may be too much for some of you guys, so you know what? You just do what you want to do. You don't have to add this on, but I feel like it was perfect for this little guy's wings. Look at that. So pretty. Oh my goodness. So again, decide how far you want to go with this. Let's do maybe let's try this bluish on the bottom wings, just for fun. You know, you stop where you want to stop. I'm just kind of playing here. Or let's do this here. So pretty. So his little belly, and actually, you know what, you guys, they really do sparkle like this in the sun. It's quite beautiful. Oh my gosh. This is the first time of me using these ones. So I'm beyond pleased. Every time I get her watercolors, I'm like, oh, I shouldn't have spent that money, or I shouldn't have done this. And then I get them and I'm like, I am so glad I spent money on this. Look at how beautiful. All right, guys, well, I just wanted to hop on and do that. Again, at any point of this process, you could have stopped. If just the hummingbird was good, stop there. I then added in some pen and ink. I added in some background with some salt and water spots. I then, let's see, what did I do? The pen and ink, the background, and now I added in those beautiful metallic iridescents. All right, guys, I hope that was fun and inspiring, and I will get all these drawings loaded in a few different places. Please feel free to always just email me if you're on a budget and can't afford it. Totally good with that. DebbieWalkerArt@gmail.com, and I am happy to share these with you. All right, everybody, I'll see you soon.